I'm Sajid and today I will be talking about Pandas. So Pandas is a widely used library that is being used by many data scientists and machine learning engineers. So if you want to work in the domain of machine learning or data science, the thing which I will tell you today should be on your fingertips, because today I will just discuss the basics, but based on those basics you can maybe move to complex concepts or uh, different other things, but these are the basics which I will discuss today. So I will start with how you can read a CSV file. So data can be in different formats, so it can be CSV, Excel, or maybe some other format. So for now I will tell you that how we can read the data that is in a CSV file, and then if you want to read some other file you can just Google it, but here you will get the basic concept. So usually when we read a CSV file, we save it in a data frame. So in Pandas we use data frames to save any data, and then we perform different operations over a data frame. So the first step is that we have to import Pandas. So I will import Pandas as PD, and then I will read a CSV. So the CSV which I am reading now, I got this CSV from this link. If you want to see, then here is the CSV file, and you can see that there are 1 2 3 4 5 columns in that CSV, and there are 400 plus rows in that CSV. Yeah, maybe 474 rows. So to read a CSV, I will save it in a df, then pd dot read CSV or CSV read, and then I will just name the file name, which is bank wages dot okay, it's opposite. So since this file was already in my current directory, so I just wrote the name of the file, but if it's in some other folder or directory, you should put the entire path here, right? So we already have read the CSV in my data frame, save it in the data frame. So if you want to see the data frame, so this is a data frame, right? And what if I want to rename some columns? So to rename some columns, let's suppose I want to instead of education, I want to rename that column name to qualification, right? So what I can do, I will just df dot rename, and then columns equal to the column name that is education, and then colon, and then let's suppose I want to rename it to qualification. Let me see. So here you can see that now we have renamed instead of education, now the column name is qualification, right? Now okay, so we have already done this. So what if you want to delete some column? Let's suppose I want to delete this column unnamed, right? So to delete a column, I can use drop, or maybe let's suppose I want to remove this column minority. So what I will do, df dot drop, here I can columns equal to which columns I want to remove or delete. Let's suppose minority. Okay, and I will show you so that if I print df, the column name is still here. The reason is that if I want to remove the column from the original df, then I have to add in place equal to, I have to add another additional parameter in place equal to true. And if I print it again, now you can see that that column is removed from my data frame. And now what if I want to add some new column here? So I can simply add a column. Let's suppose I want to add a column my education df my education what if I just insert an empty list here? Let me check if it works. Okay, so one way is that I just create a list and I just put some random numbers of 474 values, but here I will just copy the, maybe I will copy this column here, education df education. Now if I see, so here you can see that now another column is added, my education, and it has the same values as education because I just copied the values from df education. Now you have already seen that how we can create a data frame using from a CSV file. Like we just had a CSV file, and then we read that CSV file and we saved that CSV file in a data frame. Now I will show you that how we can create a data frame ourselves using. Now there are different methods to create a data frame. We can use via maybe through list or some dictionary. So I will show you that how we can create a new data frame. Okay, so the first step is the first method is data from a list of lists. Okay, I will just copy paste the code here. So let's suppose we have this data, and if I show you this data, it has data, and you can see that it's a list, and there are two sub lists inside that list, right? Now since I can see that I have three list elements here, so I will need to give three column names here. So maybe I will just name column 1, or then column 2, and then maybe column 3. Okay, so what we're doing here, we are passing the data, that was the list of lists, and then we are passing the column names here. So now you can see that we have created a column, we have created data frame. It has 2 rows and it has 3 columns, right? So this is the one method of creating a data frame using a list of lists. Now the other method is using a dictionary. So I will show you. Let's suppose we have a dictionary with these values. Let me copy. And if you don't know that what a dictionary is or what is a list, or so it's better that you go to my other video. In that video I explained about the list, about the dictionaries, how to create a dictionary and how to create list. let's say I name it data dict. If I just print it, so you can see that we have this we have three keys. The first key is column 1, the second key is column 2, and the third key is column 3, right? And we have in the values we have a list. For each key we have a list of values. We have a list of elements. Okay. Now if I want to create a data frame from this list, let me show you. So you can see that it's too simple that you pass a dictionary and it will be created. df. So here you can see that we have created a data frame using our dictionary. And now if you want to see the shape of the data frame, I will show you. So it's for now, let's reread the file. So because it has many multiple rows and multiple columns, so you will get a better idea. And so basically we have renamed columns, we have deleted the columns, we have added new column, then we have created a dash. It's not done, it's done, but okay. So for now we have created a data frame using list of lists. We have created a data frame using a dictionary, and then the next yes, so I was going to show you. Okay, so let me show you that how we can store a data frame to a CSV. So let me recreate data frame. So you can see that this is our data frame. Now what if I want to save this data frame which I just created in a CSV file? Okay, so it will be, I think it is df to CSV, and I will name my new file maybe .csv. Let me check if it works. Okay, so a new file should be created in my local directory. Let me check. Yes, so you can see that this is a new file which I just created, and here you can see there are like 2 rows, and then we have column 1, column 2, and column 3. Okay, so you have seen that how we can store our data frame into a CSV. So usually you will use this this technique a lot, because you will be getting data from different lists, from different dictionaries, and then you will be saving that data in some CSV file. Now I will show you that how we can get the shape of a data frame. So it's simple, df dot shape. Should I add brackets or not? Let me check. Okay, so here you can see that our data frame shape is 2, 3. It means we have 2 rows and 3 columns. Let me show you, let me reread the CSV file so you could get a better idea about the shape. So you just need to keep in mind that now I have reloaded, or I have just read the CSV file, and now I have a different data frame. So in Notebook it works sequentially. Let's suppose initial, like before this step I had this data frame, right? But when I went back to the first step, so now the new data frame or this data frame will be saved in my memory. So whenever I will use df, the data frame which was recently uploaded or created will be used here. So now if you want to see df, just to confirm that now this is the df. Now what if you want to see the shape of this df? So here you can see that we have 474 rows and we have 5 columns. So now we will talk about the head and the tail. So head is used for viewing the top n rows and n columns, n rows of data. So by default it will show you 5 rows, right? So you can see that it has 5 rows, 1 2 3 4 5. If I want to enter some other number, let's suppose I want to see the first the top 10 rows, I will just enter 10 here, right? The same is the case with the tail, but since the head will show us the top n rows, while the tail will show us the rows from bottom. So if I want to see the top the last 10 rows, maybe, or 15 rows, I will just enter the number here. Okay, and by default if you don't enter anything here, it will just show you the last 5 rows of data. Now another thing which I will discuss here is that we can display different information of a data frame. So let me show you. So the first thing is that how you can so the first thing which we'll do here is df.info. So here you can see that df.info will show you or display the data type. Here the unnamed is data type is integer 64 int, then the job data type is object, and then education data type is integer, and then gender data type is object. Usually object in pandas, usually object means string, although there can be some other objects, but most of the times the object will be a string, right? So this line will help with, you will use this line a lot of time, almost in every project, a lot of time. And then it will also show you that how many non-null values are there, right? It means so if we remember, the shape of the df was 474 rows, right? And here it is showing me 474 rows for unnamed, 474 rows for job, 474 rows for education. Similarly for gender and minority, we have 474 rows. So it means we can deduce from this information that this data frame has no null values, because if any of the column has null values, the total rows should be less than 474, right? Because it is showing you 474 non-null, right? So this is very important information about the data frame. And similarly, if you want to see the column names, you can simply columns, yes. So here you will get a list of all the columns, right? And another way to get the information, descriptive information, is using df.describe. So here you will get, using this describe, you will get the mean, standard deviation, minimum value, and count of the numeric if of the numeric columns. There are some other ways in which you can also see the description or statistics of categorical variables, but we are not going to discuss here. So df describe will only show you the information or the description about the numeric values. So if the only column, the only numeric column was here education, right? And here you can see sorry, yeah, there are two columns. The first one, the unnamed, and the second was the education. So it will show us the complete like what's the mean value, what's the standard deviation, what's the minimum value, or what's the maximum value here, right? And then 25%, 50%, 75%. So it will it will give you a give a basic stats about your data. Now I will show you that how you can do nan filling. So for this I will just create a column that will have some nan values. So np is not defined, so I need to import numpy as well. Import numpy as np. I'm not sure whether it is installed here. Yep. Okay, so I just created a new data frame. So here you can see that we have one nan value, and if you want to check the nan value using info, you can also check it. So but using info, you can see that we have the total number of rows were 2, right? But in column 1 we have only have one non-null value. It means there is one null value, right? Because the total rows were 2 and we just have one non-null value. So the total null values here in this column are 2, 1, right? So now there are different techniques through which you can fill nan values, but we are just using the most simplest one. Although in real projects you will need to use some other techniques, like we can use machine learning, or we can use different imputation methods to replace the nan values. But here I'm just replacing the null value with 0. So wherever it will find a null value, it will replace it with 0, right? So here this is a new column, this is a new data frame value, you can see, right? So null value is replaced with 0. I can replace the null value with any other value, maybe 100, right? Let me show you. If I replace it with 100, so you can see that now the null value is replaced with 100. So it's up to me, it's up to the developer, so he can use any value for null value, but it should be distinguished from the other normal values, right? Now I will show you that how we can join different data frames, right? Let's suppose we have let me create two data frames here, and let me rename it df1 and df2, right? I will not instead of nan, I will just give it some value. Let me check. Okay. So this is a column, this is a data frame 1, df1, and then we have our df2. Now what if I want to join those data frames, right? So to join the data frames, the first basic technique is that I have to specify the column name, that on which column name I should join them. It means if I want to join it on column 3, right, then wherever it will see that the value of df1 is equal to the value of df2 in that column, it will join join on the basis of this column. So let me give you example. So here we are using column 3 to join these two data frames. So you can see that initially we had column 1, data frame 1, it has 3 columns, and then we had data frame 2, it also had 3 columns, right? So now we have, in total we have 1 2 3 4 5 columns. The reason is that it has done the joining based on column 3, right? So there is a single column 3, but other columns are renamed. I think maybe it will confuse you because the column names are same, so maybe I will change it to here I will just name it with apples, oranges, and then here maybe bananas, okay, grapes, mangoes, grapes and mangoes. So now you can see that now it has joined both data frames based on column 3, right? So now you can try different other techniques to join data frames. You will have different scenarios, but this is a very basic form of joining two data frames, right? Now the next step is that how we can sort a data frame. Again, I will create a data frame. Or what if I just use the same data frame I just save it in a new data frame 3, equal to, let me check. Okay, what if I want to sort this data frame? So here the data frame name is df3, and I want to sort based on this column 3, right? Let me check. Okay, it is not showing any changes because it was already sorted. So let me change the one 250. So instead of maybe I just 12, and let me check again. Sorry, I have to do it on columns. What if instead of B just put C? Let me check the so let me create a new data frame. So I just created a data frame here, So if you see the data frame, it's like this, and you can see that it has 3 columns and it has 4 rows. I can add more rows here, and if I want to sort this column, if I want to sort this data frame on maybe column 1 or column 2, since column 2, based on column 2 it is already sorted, so just to show you that how it works, I will sort the data frame based on column 1, right? So let me show you. So here you can see now the data frame has changed. Before applying the sorting, it was like this. The first row was 1 to A, then the 5, but now since we have applied the sorting on over the column 1, so now it is giving us different results, right? So this is about a sorting. Now we will discuss another feature of Pandas, that how we can filter our data frame. So you will deal with this case a lot of time, in which you have to filter some rows, some columns. You have to create some data frame using your from your primary data frames. So we will discuss different methods here. So let's suppose you have this data frame. So you have this data frame, we have 3 columns and 3 rows. So the first method is that how we just filter our data frame based on entire column. So here I can simply write the column name. Let's suppose I just want this column 2. Alright, so I will just write column 2, and here you can see that my data frame is having just 1 column. What if I want to save it in a new column? And if I want to print df new, so you can see that it has just 1 column, that is the column 1, right? Sorry, the column 2. Now the second approach is that we can do. Let me rerun it. So the second approach is using Boolean filtering. So what if I just want to get the values of data frame where column 1 values are maybe greater than 3 or equal to 3? So here I can simply put column 1 greater than equal to 3. So I should only get since column I should get these 2 rows. Okay, so here you can see that the first row is this one and the second is the last one. Now there is another technique within the Boolean approach, that is in. Okay, let me create some other column, a new data frame. So if you want to see the data frame, Now what if I just want to filter out the rows in which I have these letters or alphabets, right? In the column in column 3, right? So here you can see, since this second column doesn't have B in the column, in the third column 3, so it won't print that, it will just remove that row from our filtered data frame. So you have already seen that we can save this this result in another data frame. So there are different other techniques which you can use for data filtering or data frame filtering. Yes, so another approach is that how we can filter a data frame using the label name. So for this we can let me recreate a new data frame. I'm just recreating new data frames just for just for better understanding. Otherwise you can use the same data frame for all the operations. So you can see that we have 3 columns: math, science and English, and then we have some index values here. So instead of string, maybe we will have some integer index, but here we are just using the string index here. Now what if you want to filter based on the index value? Now you only want the rows in which the index is John, right? So we just have John in this, the first row. What if I add another row here just for better understanding? Since I have added row, so I have to add another index here, right? So now you can see that we have John into index as 2 index. So now you can see that we have filtered 2 rows that were having index value as John. Sorry, it's yes, index or the name, label name. Now what if you just want to get the column names using the label? Let's suppose I just want I want the, maybe I want to get some specific columns. Let's say I had initially I had, yes, what I had, yeah. So what if I want to get these 2 column values based on some index value, right? So what if I want to get John result only for maybe maths and science? So what I will do here, John, I just want maths and science. Right, so now you got now we have, since we have 2 rows with John, and so we got the columns where the label was maths and science. So here you can see that we have specified the column names here, and based on those column names we got a filtered data frame. Now what if I want to, instead of writing the column names, what if I want to filter a data frame using the column index, right? Because if you see, this column will have index 0, then column its index will be 1, and then the English will have index 3, right? Now what if I want to filter the maths or maybe science column based on a science column, but not using the science as label name? So what I will do, so I will simply df.iloc, and then I will enter the index value of the column name. So if I want to filter the data for maybe science, so what I will do here, I will just mention if I want to filter based on the index value, not index name or label name, so I will simply put the let's suppose I want to get data for maybe Mark, right? So if you see the index of Mark is 1, so index of John is index value of John is 0, then Mark 1, Peter 2, then John again 3. So here you can see that when we put index value as 1, we got all the results of Mark that were 5, 8, 6, right? So here we got 5, 8, 6. What if I want to get the value of John, the fourth column, the fourth row? Sorry, it's 0, 1, 2, 3. Yep, it's 3. So you have seen the difference between df.log and df.iloc. When I use df.log, it gave me both the rows having John as index name, right? But if I just want to specify some, if I just want to get the value of this fourth row, right? This fourth row, then I can get that value using the index value instead of the label. Because when I enter the label, it will give me the both values, the both rows. But if I just want to get the value of this fourth row, then I can get it using the index value. So I hope now it's clear to you that how you can do filtering our database using different methods. Now the next thing is that how we can group a data frame. Let me create a new data frame here. Okay. So basically, grouping a data frame is a bit complex, or maybe I will say that it's a bit advanced level, but I will just show you the basics here, that how you can group a data frame. And when you will start working in data frame, like when you will start manipulating with data frames with series, then you will be more familiar with this approach. But here I will just show you that how you can do basic operations using grouping a function, grouping a data frame, right? So here you can see that this was our basic data frame or initial data frame which we generated. And what if I want to make a I want to group a data frame in using a column 3, right, based on column 3. And what I want to do here, I want to get the sum of all the values of column 1. First thing is this, and the second is that I want to get the max value of column 2. So if I get a sum, if I want to do the sum of these values of column 1, so 1 plus 5 6, 6 plus 3 9, right? And then the column for the column 2, the max value is 10. Let me write it. Maybe I will make a different separate video on grouping a data frame, because it's a bit advanced topic, and since this is just for basic users, so I cannot cover or I cannot explain it in more detail here. So here you can see that since we have used the GroupBy on column A, so what it did, like for the column A, now we have column 1 and column 2. For these two columns, it will get the, so if you see that these two rows, column 3 has 2 rows in which we have B, the value is B, right? So what it will do, so for the first row, since for the first row we will simply use the values, because the A is not duplicated in other rows, right? So we'll simply write the exact values of column 1 and column 2 in the first row, right? But for the second row, for the second row, if you see that column 3B, like this column has 2 B's in 2 different rows, or it's a duplicate values of B. So what you think that what values should I use in the second column, in the second row? So I have already mentioned that for the first column it will sum the rows, and for the second column it will take the max of the rows. Not all the rows, but the rows in which the value of column 3 is B, right? So for the column 1, what we will do, 5 plus 3, so we will insert 8 here. And for column 2, since we are using aggregate function of max, so it will take the max of 8 and 10, that is 10. So this is how a grouping will work. This is how you can implement a grouping in your data frame, right? Now the next thing is that how we can get unique values in a data frame. So let me again write a new data frame, generate a new data frame here, and if I show you, so here again you can see that we have duplicate values. We have 2 A's in 2 different rows, right? So I can simply use unique function to get my unique values. So it is showing me that I have 2 unique values here in the data frame in third column, right? If I want to check, maybe if I want to check unique values in some other column, So here, since all the values are unique, so it is giving me 3 values. If I want to check in column 2, so using this you can get the total unique values in any column. So in column 3 we just have 2 values, unique values, so it will give me 2 values. But if I check on column 1 and column 2, it will give me 3 different values. So this is about checking unique values or getting unique values in a column. So this will simply print the unique values. What if you want to get the count of the unique values? So we can simply use df.nUnique and it will give you the count of the unique values, right? Let's suppose I want to check. So this is how a unique function will work. Now the next topic is that how we can apply a function to a data frame. So let me write a simple function here. Let me write some df. Let's say that the function name is mySum. So maybe I will pass my rows and return So this function will simply add the values of column 1 and column 2, right? Let me create a data frame. So you can see that I have created 2 columns, column 1 and column 2, and I want to save the addition of these 2 columns in a third column. So I will apply the function here. So since the function name is mySum, so I will simply write the function name here. So whatever I will pass here, like whatever function I will use, that function will be implemented on all the rows, right? So even if I have hundreds of rows, that function will be applied on all the rows and it will return me the result, and that result will be saved in as df column 3 as a new column. And one more thing, that you can also apply a function to to a single column, right? Or maybe a list of columns. So let's say let me create another, let me create another function here. That function will return the square of numbers, right? let me save it in column 4, because since I already have column 3, so I will save it in column 4. And what I will do here, I'm passing the column 1 here, so the column 4 should have the square values of column 1, right? So you can see that column 4 contains the square values of column 1. Column 4 contains the square values of column 1. So 5, 25, 3, 9. So this is how we can implement, or we can implement a function on multiple rows or maybe columns. There can be different approaches to apply functions, but these are just the basic approaches which you need to know. Now the next thing is that how we can handle the duplicates. Let me create a data frame here. So the data frame is this, right? And you can see that we have duplicate values in that data frame. So using this function, it will return true against if the value is not duplicate, it will write the true, otherwise it will have a false value. So here you can see that index 1, since we have the is, so basically it will, if there is a duplicate, it will write true. If there is no duplicate, it will simply write false. So here, since this row is a duplicate of this row, row 0 is a duplicate version of row 2, so in front of these two rows it is writing true. And for the second row, since second row doesn't have any unique any duplicate value, so it is just giving us the false value here. Now the next thing is the distribution of values in a column. This is also a very important thing, because when we work with machine learning classes, the first step we do is we check whether we check that how many samples are in each class, just to check whether a data is balanced or imbalanced. Or so this is, let me show you how we can check the class distribution, or maybe column, instead of class you can write any column name here. Now if I want to see the total number of values in column 1, I can simply use df.values count, and here I will just mention the column name. So here you can see that occurrence of A is 2 times and occurrence of B is 1 time. So it just showed me the frequency of the values in the column A. Right. I think these are enough for basic understanding of pandas. Now there are definitely there are a lot of things which you need to know when you are working as a data scientist or machine learning engineer when you are using pandas. But these are the, if you cover these basics, I think you can learn other things you just simply googling, or because I will need a lot of time to cover all the things in pandas, because uh, there are a lot of things which we need to cover. uh, but if the things which I mentioned today are on your fingertips, then I think you are good to go for a basic machine learning or data science job. I hope that you understood what we discussed today. If you get any query or any problem in running the code, I will share the code on my GitHub repository, and I will share the link of repository in the link. Meanwhile, if you get any issue in running the code, or if you are having any issue in grasping the concept, then definitely you can ask in the comment section, or you can also message me. Thanks a lot for your time. Bye.